I'm sure Lion has like some stories about that too. But I wanted to kind of draw back to their questions that they wrote for you, see if there's any that kind of pop out. But let's see. Kind of touched on a lot already, so that's good.
Um,
Yeah.
sure. There was one that said if the walls really work. um, no, they don't. They don't work. Especially when you have the wind knocking them over and smashing people's cars. You know that just a mindless thing. Uh,
Happened
but
in
but can you and you know what? Can you imagine if all those billions of dollars went into you guys as students, as you guys, uh, teachers, to get a little bit more of a like kind of like a stimulus, to sort of say, for everyone that's trying to educate themselves. I mean, we would have a free ride for your college, no problems. You know what I mean? I think you guys are the most valuable asset to this country. The fact that you're willing to even ask a question, because there's a lot of people that don't don't want to ask, don't care. I want the club to be open. I want to go to a rave already. But you you got to understand that there's a whole different world on that side. And it's sad to say, and you know what? This is the raw truth. There's cartels out there that prey on youth that are out there and start getting frustrated and panicky, and they tell them sometimes, "Hey, you like, I got you a free ride, but you got to carry this." And sometimes some people get lost in the desert. I don't recommend that at all to anyone, but people get desperate. Can you imagine living in and you've seen some of the shelters, Jennifer, and people start to, like, you put so many people in a room, it's a matter of time before frustration starts kicking in and they want to leave. And since I've been going there, I've lost 5 people that I can't keep track of. Like, I don't know where they're at. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they died along the desert. I have their families contacting me, I- but I don't know. I don't know what to tell them. I have people even telling me, "Hey, I'll send you money. Like, can you please go look for my son? I can't cross the border. Like, please, he's only like 18 years old. Like, please help me out." Like, eh, there's only so much that I can do before we even put our own lives at risk. And we are putting our lives at risk, because a lot of the times, it's sad to say that there's people out there that don't want to help and hope that people that are helping fall so they don't continue to help. It's kind of messed up.
Not to mention the cartels do watch closely over the shelters because of the donations that are given. There's always that risk of like,
I do have a story on that, and I don't know
oh
if
no.
I don't want to touch on that, but I do tell you that if you do go, please go during the day. Don't wander around. Don't think it's like the states where you could call the local police and everything's okay. I highly recommend. I'm not trying to paint a portrait of Mexico that is bad, because no, they're gonna respect you. But there's just certain zones that you just don't want to wander off, by yourself. Make sure you go in groups of like 5 or more. And so that's why this pandemic is really hitting them. Because imagine if all these donations stop. You're feeding 89 people, and when you're self-funded, where is that going to come from? How are you going to pay your light bill? And sometimes, if you donate to a local organization that is going to go firsthand, that is actually going to go into the people and not someone's light bill, because unfortunately there's people that are out there as well that just say that they're going to help and they never do. you know that's one thing I do wanted to bring up. If you do donate local to local orgs, and to make sure that it gets across where transparency is there at all times.
Yeah, you have the really big organizations where they need a base amount just to like kind of pay all of their people, and then
Hmm.
it's like there's a lot of admin and bureaucracy, and like with smaller groups, there's a lot of direct action, which is really good.
Definitely.
Someone had a question about, Miles had a question about what changes in border policy would be helpful to your organization, and how does red tape stop you from offering certain types of assistance?
We're going in, so I think if you could register yourself and put yourself out there, there's sometimes in La Aduana where they give us a hard time, even though it's going to humanitarian aid. They still want to charge you. I had a girl once that had paid $350 to get across with a couple of new shirts and bags of used clothing. And then on top of that, a Fitbit that was promised to a child got stolen in the process of them looking through things, because all they left behind was just the box and the Fitbit was taken out. But if we were to lift up some of those things, I mean, if they would allow me to, I could go to my local grocery stores and go out there with a truckload. I mean, a 53-foot container. We're all having.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't do that.
Yeah, we've had that problem too. Just kind of like them asking for money to cross what's in the car, and just there is a little bit of risk, like taking things over. Just you have to learn how to navigate it. But like you said, you couldn't take a U-Haul with toys.
Mm-hmm.
But how dope would that be? That would be awesome.
I have right now. I have like about the Converse company just help me out with some stuff, and then also a gentleman. I have Converse ready to go for people. But again, we're being mindful because it's a double-edged sword. We're also being mindful that we don't want to get people sick there. Can you imagine getting sick in one of the, the albergues, is what they're called. So that's the last thing you want. You don't want to get them sick. They're traveling thousands and thousands of miles with no money and stuff like that. So we're really mindful when it comes to that. Like, we got to be very cautious. We don't want to get no one sick. And then it spreads because, you have like 89 people, 90. At one point, it was like 120 people.
And they're not much bigger than like a regular house, or
no,
just like some outdoor areas. I mean, at least the one that I went to with you, but I've been to other ones that are nicer, but yeah, they're not like permanent housing or anything. It's very temporary, which I think kind of speaks to like what you were saying too, Sam, about being an orphan and just not having a place to go for the kids, like living in temporary housing for that long. It's just like can really. There was a question about like psychological impacts, just.
With yeah. Psychological. Oh man, I think that's one subject that even coming from a Mexican descent, we don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Someone comes with a hey man, I'm feeling this way. Like, oh, you're dumb. Like, they don't. You know what I mean? Like, I came in a no excuse household. Like, don't give me that's an excuse. But no, sometimes you really do need to help. Like, you personally can help someone out just by listening. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. You just hear them out. They want to vent out. They want to be heard. I've been in places where I get there and a lady just starts bawling out. This is what I'm going through. And then she goes through the whole process of explaining me her story. And then she's like, you know what? I just needed someone to hear me. I'm thankful you came. And then I always ask, how can I help you? How can I assist you? And then some of them say, oh, well, I need some shoes. Or some of them just say, no, thank you. I just needed your presence. I needed someone just to hear me. It's kind of, it's not weird, but if you guys know of anybody that does like counseling or psychology, it's much needed down there. That is not my expertise. I can't really touch too much on that because it's not my field of work. But in the orphanages that we go to, This is aside from the asylum seekers. A lot of these children, some of them are 9 years old, and because they've seen so much violence, they're in mute. Like you try to talk to them, and they just mumble. Some of them are like really, scared because of the violence they've been through, and you can see. Um, you try to talk to them, and they like ball up. Or so my approach is always show up with toys. I mean, what kid doesn't love a toy? So I come up with a soccer ball, and I just start playing with them, and then I slowly, hey, mijo, how are you? ¿Cómo está? Uh, and they slowly open up. But more people are needed. Sometimes we have like about maybe 40 kids to one orphanage, and there's only sometimes 3 of us that go, 5 of us that go. So they want that attention. They need that attention. Um, like I said, it's always an open invite. We can make a pit stop in San Diego, and you guys are closer than us. We're traveling. I'm traveling like about 3 hours. Sam like about three and a half. Um, but we go there. Maybe at one point we were going like 3 times a month. Uh,
Yeah, when Patty goes more often than I do, and she'll go and come back in like 3 hours, or sometimes two,
yeah.
during the week, So it's possible for us here to be there more and to build those connections, like you're saying, and like just even to just go play with the kids. Like they're just so, they're kids, very much kids still. So I think like that's a good approach, bringing toys, because they still want to play and they're still kids, and they there was a question about like, do they know the policies that affect them? Do they know like what's going on? Oh yeah, are they educated on the laws, policies placed against them? Do they know their rights and what to expect? And it's like,
in regards to law, I'm not an attorney, but I do double check sometimes some of the stuff that is given to us as far as like brochures. And I do tell them to kind of like review this, if they're ever in the situation, this is kind of what according to this guidelines, because I don't want to misguide anyone. This is kind of where it's at, it's laid out. Again, we verify, through various orgs to make sure that the policies are up to date. With this administration, and especially the state of emergency, a lot of things could be passed as we are talking now that we don't even know about, that next month could be in place. That's the thing when having the nation in this situation, because what happened in the Twin Towers and the Patriot Act that was passed, it opens up the doors for a lot of things that we as citizens could kind of hold back, but now we can't. So I think it's really good if people kind of like set aside some time and kind of educate themselves on that. And if you could help out someone, please do. We don't even have to go far. A lot of our street vendors right now are getting attacked. Um, and then at the same time, a lot of them, I don't even have to go far. I have someone that I know personally that their landlord is telling them, oh, well, if you don't pay me this other fee that I'm adding you, then I'm going to call immigration on you. And that right there, it boils my blood, because I don't think no human being should ever have an authority or have somebody to that point, you know what I mean, where they're scaring them all the time. Oh, if you don't do this, or if you don't do that, or if you don't clean this up, I'm going to call immigration on you. I mean, I it also, with some of my personal family, but that's just a whole nother subject that I'm going. But yeah, I always recommend everyone that please, if you can, educate yourselves when it comes to laws and policies, and keep an eye out. Just because CNN said something, cross-reference, see what else someone else is saying, and go online. We have the power of what my elder tells me, the magic mirror. It's on our hands all the time. You type anything in and everything comes up. So
yeah, definitely like cross-referencing, like you said, is important, and just learning for yourself the information and to know that it impacts you, like especially if you're Latino, but whoever, regardless, like these things are impacting you or your friend or your family member or other humans are undeserving of this. If you all have a question, you can feel free to type it in the chat box. There is one comment from Haley who said that she's tried searching for orgs like yours online, but are never able to find one unless they search by name. Why do you think that is, Lynn? Why do you think folks can't find you or us?
You know what? We're considered underground. It's unfortunate, like I said, there's a lot of people out there that, as sad as it is, that they don't want you to help them because they're okay and they feel like they're probably gonna take from them. We can't take enough sun, you know what I mean? The sun comes out for everyone. We can't have, we can't keep all the water to ourselves. The water comes out for everyone. And I think that if people want to come out here and work and do things in an honest way, I'm for giving. There was like a question in regards to the DACA and giving them citizenship. I'm all for it. I think that if we have lawyers, doctors, nurses that are on the front line right now putting their lives at risk, why not grant them citizenship? You know what I mean? They're putting their lives on risk just like a military serviceman. And then that's another subject. That's someone else we also help out. We help out a lot of the deported veterans that fought for your rights, for you to be here open freely to have this conversation, and they're deported. Whether they made a little mistake or not, we are not there to judge. We are there to just to help and whatever we can and just keep going. But I find it really messed up that things like that happen. And I really find it messed up that, the DACA students are also restricted from doing a lot of things, from going home, from helping certain things, and they contribute to the society as well. And a lot of them, PhD graduates, God, they're way smarter than I am, you know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean,
I don't know why. We have put our link up, and then sometimes people type it in, and it just doesn't come up. I need to talk to someone that's more computer savvy. I'm not computer savvy. I'm always on the front lines. People are like, "Hey, you should put up a website." I'm like, I can't. I have 3 that are waiting for me, and that's another thing that the kids were. Our biggest day, our biggest event for us, el Día de los Niños, the Day of the Kids, that is celebrated for kids all throughout Mexico. You buy them gifts, you buy them whatever. When was it? Like last year, Sam, 750 kids showed up, all from orphanages, no parents. I mean, we rented out some jumpers. We had a guy cooking pizzas nonstop. The kids were going crazy. I mean, we had a ball. Amo was over there running. People were throwing confetti eggs at us. We were just having a blast. But again, the Kids 2017. I think we have Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, yeah.
Apologize for that. We don't really update things, but I have like tons and tons of pictures that I haven't even uploaded because I'm always on the go. I mean, yesterday I take the day off, and there is no day off. I got hit up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey, we have 300 sandwiches for you. Come pick them up. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't let them go to rot. There's people out here that need it. So what did I do? Sam, get up. Sam was like, I'm still asleep. Sam, get up. I need you to go pick this up and meet me in downtown LA. Hurry up. And there we go.
One thing I want to make clear in regards to anybody looking for an organization, do your research. Some organization like us, we are very few. We do not pocket the money. 101% of the funds go directly to the cause. Maybe the orphanage, secret asylums, the deported vets. Also, some organization does pocket the money. We'll put posts up saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, but they pocket the money. As for us, our gas, hotel, we spend our own money. You guys send us money, it will go directly to our organization, the people in TJ or here in LA. So do your research.
Yeah, we're not here to bash anyone, but
Yeah.
there's been people, Sam and I, 2017, we've been going about different days. We go different days, Mondays, Wednesdays. There's you know, there's been a lot of times where we're out there doing our thing, and then news vans come up, and then all of a sudden, like all these other people show up, and they're like, where did they pop up from? And then the news vans leave, and then they leave with them, and it's like, well, what happened? Like we still need the help. People are still coming. There's a new face every other day. There's a new family coming every other day. As a matter of fact, remember, Sam, that lady from El Salvador that in La Juventud 2000 didn't want to let him in anymore? I don't know if you were there with me, or I think it was G and Reggie.
They didn't
And
want to
so
let the news in?
no, they didn't want to let asylum seekers in.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's another situation that happened. I think that's the reason why the lady there, she didn't like me, because I told her, I'm like, look, man, I'm here helping out, and I'm connected with this and this and this organization, because I made a coalition, and I had this private chat where the heads are there, and we kind of talk about situations, what's needed, how can we provide, who can we send to, and that's always something beautiful to have, just a cross reference also. So there was this family, and there was also this lady from El Salvador who that were out there since like 12 o'clock, and it was like we were gonna leave. It was like 7. Something told me, hey, you know what? Go back. So I did go back, and they were still out there waiting on the side step of the door. They were saying that there was not enough room, and I looked inside, and there was obviously not a lot of room, but there was enough room to at least set up a little tent for them. So I got mad, and I told Sam, and I'm not Sam, I told my good friend G, who was also part of the org. And by the way, there's 25 volunteers in our org, but I got them together. I'm like, hey, I started making phone calls. Hey, I need you to come down here. I need you to bring a bullhorn. I need you to bring, like, we need to mobilize like right now. Like, what happened? I'm like, I'm gonna go get these family and the people that are waiting outside some pizzas because they haven't ate all day. We're gonna go get them sodas. Don't worry about it. I don't even know. I threw it on my card. I remember that day. I have no money. I just threw it on my bank card. Thank God for credit cards. So I went out there and I, boom, put it all on there. Came back, gave them pizzas, and I started strategizing. I'm like, hey, you know what? What we need to do, we're going to start making noise. We're going to start making noise because you know what? We are helping them, and they're helping other people inside. But the albergues out there are for the people. No one is to sit there and say, no, you cannot come in here. That's a bunch of bull. So we started wilding up. And before you know it, the main person came out and was like, hey, we don't want any trouble. I'm like, look, if you don't let them in, and if I find out you're kicking them out because I'm giving them my personal numbers, we're gonna stop everything. Even the funding that's coming to you, like, that's it. You're done. We're gonna bring something else out. And we had to take those measures. I mean, I wasn't really gonna do that, but I just bluffed it. I'm like, you know what? This is messed up. This lady was dragging her foot because she had fell coming off La Bestia because it was still moving and she had to jump off. And yeah, that was a story that I'll never forget. As a matter of fact, if you go into where's that video? I think it's on YouTube that I loaded it up.
Oh, yeah.
That guy shared me pictures of La Bestia. They belong to him. And I when I load up my pictures, I always state there too if the pictures are mine or if they were allowed for me to share, because I always ask for permission. That's one thing that I always do. I always ask for permission just to make things clear and not to get anything mixed up and not to get nobody in trouble. Because again, I think that's one thing that I also wanted to touch on. If you ever go down there, be mindful that some of these people are seeking asylum, and if they're fleeing from violence, or if they're trying to, their families are going to get killed, whatever the situation may be, don't post them up on social media because the people that are looking for them could possibly know where they're at now. It becomes a security measure. I think that's something that I don't think nobody has And Los Albergues, I don't know if your albergues like that, where you go, Jennifer. I just help out donations, but I never really ask like what is the take, because some people are fleeing from violence and are fleeing from other things. So that's one thing that I'm always aware of. Like I ask them for permission because I don't know their situation. Like, hey, is it okay if I post?
Yes, yeah, we always ask. And we take like two different kinds of pictures, like we'll take pictures of like just zoomed in of like hands and feet, or if they do get permission, like we'll take pictures of faces, things like that. But definitely, like, I love what you're saying about different types of activists and like people who do say that they care, because there is kind of a showy type of activism that
Oh yeah,
does
yeah.
it.
There's
It tends to like take advantage of the people that are there. So
oh my
and it's not even like it's a fine line. It's like, what is your intention? Is your intention to
yeah.
show that you're this person doing this thing?
Um,
Yeah.
I had my 6-year-old. Well, he was 5 at the time. There was a Lights for Liberty that was nationwide. I don't know if you guys remember that. I think it was like last year, where people were lighting lights for the migrant children that were in detention centers. Um, I think, and this is me personally, how I feel. I think it's very disrespectful when you have someone that is not nowhere near the situation trying to speak on the situation of these children. Um, because if you haven't been there firsthand, then you don't know. It's like me talking on a subject, like I say, in regards to like psychology. That's not my expertise, but they are needed down there. And there is going to be some type of, you know, uh, what is the word that I'm looking for? There's going to be trauma, because they do see a lot. They do get treated certain ways, and that's encoded in your DNA. People don't believe that, but I strongly believe that in your subconscious mind, things get stored in there, and if you don't deal with it right away, it comes out in different forms. So going back to the Lights of Liberty, I was stunned. We went to Sherman Oaks, and like all the people there is near where Sam lives. All the people there were white, and in my mind, I always had this idea, because people always say, "Hey, man, the people they don't like you guys. They want you out of here." But the fact that they gave my son the mic and they gave him that respect, my son was out there chanting, "Close the camps, close the camps." I even recorded that, and next thing you know, you have the whole. There was like I believe like 800 people that showed up in this little corner, and they were just making noise, man. I think that was beautiful, but again, coming out for that is not enough. I highly, like I was telling them, I highly encourage people, please go down there. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for me. I really know what I got to do and help. I do, and I post everything that I do because I want you as a human being. And this is not even like a racial thing. This is you as a human being. Go out there and help, even if it's not across the border. There's a lot of migrant youth here that come here that don't have nobody. Um, Selling flowers, selling corn, standing in the Home Depot. Don't judge them. Just if you could help, help, and if you can't, we don't have to go far to help. But you do every now and then. Uh, Home Depots, uh, different day labor places where you find youth, and spare the moment. Ask them if you could sit down and talk to them. Sometimes that's all they want. They want someone to hear them out.
We've been going out to the Home Depots recently. Like, it's just very random, but I noticed there's a lot of Haitian folks out there, and that's something I hadn't seen before. Usually just
Yeah.
Mexicanos, Central Americans, and there's a huge like population of Haitian migrant workers, which was so cool, because they speak Spanish, because living in Tijuana for a while, they learned Spanish, and so it's cool to just talk to them and see how they're doing, making sure they're all right, and just really really happy people. It's so cool to like see the Haitian community from Tijuana come over here to the United States too. It's like a complete picture, you know, because you meet the migrant youth, like you meet the migrants like in these places, you know, and that's kind of where you start to like think of them and about them. But like you said, they actually, you know, they become like, you know, they have these full lives, and this is the next step, and this is the next step. I know undocumented or, you know, asylum seeking folks who are in housing now here, you know, in
Yeah.
San Diego, just living their day-to-day lives, having potlucks and shit. Like it's cool.
I think it's Daniela said, "What is the mental health of a member who crossed the border?" Remember, this is all new to them. They're coming into your home, just like anybody coming into your regular home. Offer them water, tell them to sit down, you know, and have a chat. That's the way I look at it. I treat the people that I go help out like if they're coming to my home and they're my guests. How do I treat my guests that will eventually be here permanently? How can I teach them? Hey, by the way, you know, you're going to need a cell phone. Hey, by the way, you're going to need, you know, whatever the situation may be. Hey, by the way, you know, help them out. Be warming. Listen, and don't misjudge them because they don't know. You know, again, this is all new to them. So always be mindful of that, because some people have a tendency to like, oh, why did they come here? Or da, 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 you know, you don't know. At the same time, you don't know what they've been through. That's another thing too. You don't know their state of mind, if they're, you know, more closed or more open or whatever the situation may be. Some of them probably experienced abuse from the federales. You know, I'm pretty sure you heard stories about that. You know, so when they see a cop, they get all nervous. You know, and you gotta, hey, we're gonna be okay. You know, like it's pretty messed up. I think that's something that I'm probably gonna start taking a couple of classes on, just to understand more the psychological effects of migration from one point to another, and seeing how I could help out and then apply those things that I've learned, because the knowledge becomes pointless if I don't share it.
Yeah, we have one of our students, Viviana, she's asking if there's like mental health services for people specific, for kids specifically who have crossed. And hey,
It's me,
and
yeah.
yeah, and I don't know what you're finding out in your research, but like, I don't know. I don't know any like org or any services like that.
You know, doing what you do, or like for us doing what I do, I could look at someone now and I could kind of figure out what they're going through. And what I do is I kind of like I go and I challenge, you know, some people. I don't come in a rude way, but I'll go to like um these little clinics that are out there in Tijuana that are like, hey, can you donate some of your time? Or what I've been doing is I've been hitting up the local universities and going to people that are studying psychology and child development, because you know I have the children that are having a hard time like speaking, and you know, like I was telling you in regards to the child that's muted, that's been seeing violence all his life. um I actually I go out there and I'm like the voice for them, and I ask them, hey, I have this shelter that needs help, or hey, can I arrange something? Can I like buy you lunch at least, and can you go see this kid and see how we could help him, you know, come out there and help, you know, the people that are there, the staff members. One thing that I also wanted to share, on the orphanage we go to, and some of the shelters, a lot of the people that are there and that are helping, they don't get paid. It's all out of their heart. Like if there's like, we do humanitarian work, but that's the real humanitarian work. Like we just go and drop off and then come. They're there. I think that they're there on the front lines, like every day. Some people without pay. There was one lady that I seen. She had holes on her shoes, and she was there as a staff member. And I don't have to ask her, hey, do you need shoes? No, I went and asked her, hey, you know, just kind of like chit chatting. Oh, by the way, what size of shoes do you wear? Oh, da, da, da. boom. And I kept that in mind and I wrote it down because I forget things, you know. So I wrote it down in a little notepad. Get shoes for this lady. And we did another donation drop the following week. I pulled out the box of shoes and I wrote a little note. Those things work. Write a little note in Spanish if you can, or have somebody translate it and say something just small. Hey, thank you for your help. Hey, I see your efforts. That right there goes a million miles. I remember the lady, I left a little box and then she has my my WhatsApp app because that's how we communicate. She was like all stuttering. She was all like happy. She was like, you could hear her crying, you know what I mean? She was so grateful. Those are things that I think no money can buy. And like I said, I'll keep continuing to tell people, please come down and help us because we need all the help that that is possibly offered out there. So we'll take anybody as long as they come with a open mind.
Yeah, and I think there's different like roles that people need to take in this movement. Like you said, someone to make a website, someone to be going down there, someone to be living at the shelter down there. And Lita Diana, while you're here, real quick, I did want to ask you: have you found anything in your research?
Yeah, I found some articles, but like they don't go. They're very academic, I would say. They're like I found them through the Mesa academic website, the little like the search on the library, and they just mostly showed up and it was talking about like I guess the psychology, but it's not very recent. And what I sort of want to know is more recent. I want to know more about like the recent cases with the children coming from Central America rather than Mexico, because my question has to do more with kids crossing through the deserts, but I don't know if the Central American kids cross the deserts.
Yeah, believe me when I tell you they do.
Okay.
Believe me when I tell you, maybe I shouldn't talk about that, but I could give you my personal email and please contact me because off the record, I could tell you a lot of stories of things that I can't really be open publicly about.
Mm-hmm.
I've gained their trust. And believe me when I tell you, I can say this. There was a rumor among the community in Mexicali through out there. There was a rumor saying that there was somebody schooling the children down there and throwing them on trains, but it was the Trump administration itself to push his agenda for the wall, saying, oh, see all these people, see all these children, they're coming out here. We need this wall to justify his wall.
Mm-hmm.
And they were double dipping because the contractors that are building the walls out there, they were giving back cuts to Trump. From what I hear, I don't know how true that is, but it's messed up because can you imagine what they experience and then all the children that are lost along the way?
Yeah.
When a train comes with, for example, like 4,000, 5,000 people, and then they get to Tijuana and there's only like 1,500, well, what happened to the rest? Are they stuck? Were they picked up?
Yeah, what happened?
That's him.
Maybe this will help in your study is Doctors Without Borders. Have you tried that route?
Mm-hmm.
They also go down to Mexico, but I don't know what they really do or offer. So you may want to check that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's actually yeah.
Yeah. As far as crossing the border, this desert, I had a friend. His parents brought him over the border. He was several months old. They crossed the Rio Grande River. They lost him. Several seconds, a minute went by. They finally found him. But there are kids that are crossing borders. But yeah.
Yeah, and so what I sort of want to say is that with my question, I want to answer the question of what is the psychological impact and the physical impact in mostly migrant underage children, so under the age of 18, so it'd be teenagers. And I sort of want to know, even though I know that, you know, the psychological impact is very, like, it's big for any child crossing, I want to know if there's a difference. Could there be a difference in a child that crosses through a desert rather than, you know, through a train or by airplane, or like different modes of transport, or like different paths? I want to know if the desert path is like.
I think that, you know, that is a good question. I think that the experience is always going to be different, and your result is always going to be different. If it's someone that's a little bit more developed, the ages maybe of like 10 to like 18, is going to be more encoded in their mind. When they're being a little baby, like between like, you know, a little bit younger, that someone's carrying them, what they're not experiencing, the running, they're not experiencing. There's people out there that strap them up. Like, I don't know if you've seen the natives in on like chapas, where they wrap the babies up. They do that. Sometimes they put them up like right here as they're crossing the Rio Grande, because they don't want their children to drown. I don't know if you guys remember that not long ago, there was a story of a guy who drowned and the baby drowned with him, and he was wrapped around here. Things like that happen. That's just one case that we know, but there's thousands of cases. So referencing back to your question, I think there is a difference, but who's going to collect that data? Thankfully, we have people like you, because then you could write an article and then you could make that impact. I think your mind, I love it. It's out there. Her mind is what we need, because I didn't even think of that. Like, you know what? She just hit me like sideways, like someone coming at me in the ring, you know, just came at me. Dude, like, hey, you know what? You're right.
You know, create this database where we're collecting people's information and how to get a hold of them. Yeah, definitely. And I think all of them, they have worthy questions like that. And I think another thing, Viridiana, before we move on, is like, you should look into generational trauma, because generational trauma, is something that we know more about and we can like learn about too. So just what it means to kind of like overcome that, because there's that belief, right, that you feel the trauma for generations. So what if, you know, how do you work with that, or try to I don't want to use break the cycle, but you know, how do you come out of that, you know? So good.
I think that she's needed, and maybe you could start up a database. I mean, if you need help funding, I mean, we'll even throw car washes for you to get a notebook. You know what I mean, and put it in there. I mean, when I mean to tell you that I'm dedicated to what I do, I mean I'm dedicated. I'm supposed to be at work today, but I took the time out for you guys.
Took some sick leave.
I'm dead serious. And no, actually, I threw in a vacation day.
Oh, okay.
This is my vacation, because this is what I love doing. Everybody's different. Maybe to some people right now it's like, oh, this guy is like boring. But to some people, it's just like, this is what I want. This is what I want to get into. Like, believe me when I tell you, all the help is welcome. Not a lot of people are out here on the forefront. You know, this is not some of those protesters that are doing street theater, like raw, 100%. with people that eventually they're going to write stories on. I'm not looking for a thank you. I'm not looking for any type of recognition. I don't care about that. What I care about is how we can help each other. How can you come in, like, for example, your database. Maybe one day I could be, when we go, Sam, maybe I could go one day, you know, like in my hotel room. It's like, I need to look at the research, like, what can I do to help this kid out? And then bam, there comes your database. Okay, well, this child is similar to this child, and now we can help them out this way. And tell them, hey, you know what, like, don't do this, or don't take that route, because there's a possibility that you might end up like this. Or there was one question that I kind of wanted to touch on. It said something in regards to I can't say it, my phone just died. Uh, the laws that are against humanitarian aid. There are laws against what we do. As far as like, because I go out sometimes personally, and I also do water drops. I think that it's pretty messed up that there's even a law for that. You know, helping a fellow human being, because that's how I look at everyone. I don't care what you are. We're human. We're one by the end of the day. We're all connected. We all want to be happy. We all want to, make it in this world. But that it's pretty messed up that there's laws even against that. There's there is that whole thing in regards to like the term illegal, that we're harboring illegal immigration. I don't like that. I really don't, because I think if everything was fair across the board, nobody wants to leave home. Nobody wants to go to a different place. Nobody wants to be looked at weird. Nobody wants that. I mean, I personally don't want that. I go to Mexico and I love it. The orphanages, seeing those little drawings that they do. I have a couple downstairs at my dad's altar, and I put them there because my dad passed. I put all these little notes, all these little drawings that they do, and for me, that's my gift. That's my payment. Knowing that people are expecting for you to come back, and they're going to give you something that's handmade. That's what I love. When things are handmade, one of one. That's another thing that maybe you could collect. We could probably get some of the children to write letters, and you could read their personal experiences firsthand. I mean, I don't know if you're open for that, but
No, yeah, I was also like really interested in like talking to adults that had gone through that, and that have had time to like think about their mental health, and think about I really struggled as a child because I crossed through the dead. Like I didn't realize that. And I also want to talk to the children where it's like more recent, where that is fresh in their minds still, where it's sort of like I want to see the difference, compare and contrast, to see how their mental health is at different places or where it's at. But that could help me a lot with children. And
there's not just one, there's hundreds.
Yeah.
And when I mean hundreds, like we could go to Tijuana and we could go through like 300 right now. Off the top of my head, I could take you to 3 different shelters. That's 300 people. Mm-hmm. And probably out of those 300 people, maybe like about like 150, if not 200, are all kids.
Yeah.
There's your start. There's your start. I mean, if you really want it, it's really there. I mean, if you're really passionate about it, I say go for it. We can even take you more inland, where it's like Mexicali, and then also down south towards where it's Ensenada, where there are trusted albergues that house children. There's also people that come from like Chiapas, even within the own region of Mexico. You're going to get different answers, because some of them are, like I said, fleeing from violence. Mm-hmm. Some of them just want a better life. And some of them, it's unfortunate, but it happens, they're abused. So they leave. They have no choice. If you want to experience some first things firsthand that are like really, really like, I was like starstruck. It's called Los Niños de la Basura. Right. And these are children that live in landfills. There's like a little community of children in Tijuana that live literally off the trash. At first, they wouldn't come out, but they started seeing me come more constantly. I would drop off like water, and I'll just point at the water, wave, and then take off. And then I'll continue doing my donation drops. And then I'll come by the following week, and then come, drop off snacks, more water, wave at them, and then take off. And then finally, like by the 5th or 6th time, finally, like a couple of kids started coming down. And some of them talk, some of them just looked at you like, they literally tilt their head like that, and they just look at you, wondering if maybe you're going to attack them or not. And I just like wave, or I come, again, the toys, for the children, the toys. Have a little ball, and I just start kicking it like the little soccer ball, and I just throw it at them, and I'm just wave again, and I just take off. But those children right there, I think, also need help. What the question that I ask myself is, where did they come from? Who were their parents? What happened? God knows.
Yeah, I had the same questions.
Those are things that I don't have an answer to right there. The ones for, like, for example, the niños de la basura, I don't know where they come from, to be honest with you. Some of them say they're local kids, but if they're local kids, then I would assume an aunt, uncle, or someone would try to take them.
Yeah, so many like unwritten stories. Which brings me to Luis's question. So Luis asked, and we have like 5 minutes left, so maybe this will be the last question we touch on. But have you guys considered making a book with stories that get authorized to share to have more people aware of what people go through? That is basically worse than how the news or articles paint it as. Only people that have experienced firsthand realize how hard it is for all people coming from far with not much. Have you guys considered making a book?
We live in I thought about that. The new generation, if it's not on a YouTube or a Facebook post, they're not going to read it. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that we live in that age. I personally have, like, in this closet, I have 250 books that I read personally, and my library is growing. But I'm willing to do it. You know, again, I have to find the time for it, because I can have one story and I have 89 people coming in. You know, I think that maybe even a documentary. I thought about that. So if you guys know of anyone that has like some good cameras, someone that could write, because my writing is horrible. But because I'm firsthand, you know, I'm just there doing my thing. I'm willing to do it. As a matter of fact, if Luis wants to come down, or if he has a way of coming down, and since you're more open to that, maybe that's a project that I could throw at you. Make a book. You could be the author. Any gratifications coming from it could go straight to the migrant, or for your hard work, you know, get a cut or whatever it might be. Like I said, all the help is needed. We don't refuse any help. Even some of your cousins that are not doing anything, that are sitting around right now, send them down. We'll put them to work. Believe me when I tell you, whether it be cleaning up or throwing away some trash. The last one, it says, can you guys also share how to get in contact with your group for donation drops? The Kids 2017, Facebook and Instagram.
One thing I want to throw out there before we get too further is for Lewis. If you want to see what we do have videos out there of what we do. We do have videos out there, so you may want to get a glimpse of some of the videos and what we do.
Yeah.
And that may help you out on some research, or any of you for that matter, of what we do.
Do y'all have the GoFundMe and a Venmo too?
Yeah.
I have a Venmo. I do have a GoFundMe.
I saw the GoFundMe, but I figured you might prefer the Venmo.
A new one, by the grace of the Creator. We get help. I don't know how it happens. When we do a project, people just drop money, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna have 80 people eating right now. You know what I mean? Before we go, I wanted to share one last quick story. The children that are in the orphanage, they wanted they didn't want anything last year. A couple of them wanted just no, that's what it was. They wanted a TV, because there's 32 children in this particular orphanage. They wanted a TV, and it's only like 22 inches, like literally like really small. So I got together with a group and we just donated them. I think it was like a 45-inch TV. We hooked them up. We paid all their internet service so they could get Netflix, all that good stuff. They never had that. Believe me when I tell you, they were jumping up and down because they were able to see the SpongeBob series and all that other good stuff. But I told the director of the orphanage if I could get granted permission to take them out to experience what it's like to have a family dinner, considering a lot of them they're just left behind. You won't believe me, but they were shocked because I took them to a buffet. Some of them never experienced this. Again, remember being mindful of them not experiencing or not knowing. The children didn't know that you were able to grab whatever you want. Like literally, they kept coming up to me like, "Hey, can I get some cookies? Hey, can I get some ice cream?" Like, you don't have to ask me. Like, it's all for you guys. We have that video. I think it's like the last one that we ever uploaded, huh, Sam?
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted them to get an experience of what it's like to be eating down, like throwing it down as a family, having dinner. I wanted to do something different. So I kind of leave you with that thought in mind. Can you imagine not knowing what it's like to sit down as a family? Again, also, when it comes down to the shelters, can you imagine sleeping in a tent with a family of 4, with a family of 5? Tonight, when you sleep in your comfortable bed, remember that there's someone sleeping on the floor. And that's what motivates us to keep going. Sometimes I only have 3 hours of sleep and I'm out there doing my thing. Like I said, I don't want recognition. I know Sam doesn't want recognition, but what we do want is if you're able to help, just come down and help. I seriously mean it from the bottom of my heart. If you could help. If you could even go to your local labor stand, you'll see migrants there. Some of them are teenagers from Haiti, from all over, all the walks of life. Just give a hand if you can. And again, the Kids 2017, we're at your service. Sam is at your service. We have a lot of other volunteers. A lot of them are working. They couldn't make it in today. But feel free to help us out if you can. Jennifer, I want to thank you and everyone in the class for taking the time also to join us today.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much for taking your vacation with us. And I know that I know that it's hard to share these stories and really, be reminded of like the hardships. And so I appreciate that labor, all that emotional labor. So I really appreciate that. And I'll connect folks who want to come with us next time, and we'll take a trip together. I think that'd be cool. Thank you again so much, everyone. So I'll see you in the next class, and I'll hang out here if anyone wants to chat or anything. But technically, our class is over, so I'll see y'all later. Bye.
You guys have a blessed day. Thank you. Oh man, Sam. It's getting hot.
It's hot. It's hot down here too.
Who logged out?
We have 3 people still up.
Okay.
Usually, some of them have a second class right after this, so try to open tonight.
There was a lot of good questions. I mean, it's just that they're so like. I think if I could bring maybe I could probably gather up maybe 10, 15 activists from different types of activism work on this. I mean, we could have a really broad, from human rights to the protection of law of the animals. And I also have activists that I know that are fighting for water rights in different origins of Mexico.
Have a network. I mean, like it made me think like I'm just gonna start a group chat, you know, make them drop their phone numbers, and then I'll be like, okay, we're going next. Because that's the other thing. It's like when we go, it's kind of like happens fast, you know, where you can't like email like and take a few days. Like sometimes it's like tomorrow.
Yeah,
It'd be cool to build up that network, but yeah, it's hard to have like groups too, you know, doing.
definitely.
As you know, I don't know if you've had experience with that, but like groups, like organizing groups, like kind of falling apart. Some gets mad at someone.
You know what? I do have one that's constantly active. Um, and sometimes that's another thing that we need help on. You know, like finding sponsors for people, because there's a lot of people that are stuck in the border that are eligible to come across, but they don't have sponsors, like somewhere to go, somewhere where they could check in on them.
Yeah.
And that's something that we also need help on. A lot of people don't realize that, like, it's not just a matter of get up and go. Like, you need to have somebody that's going to sponsor you too, and also basically say, hey, I'm going to take care of you financially meanwhile you get up on your feet.
Yeah. And like easy is it to sponsor someone, you know, to just say like, oh yeah, they're cool, and like I'll make sure they're okay, you know. I'll have the capacity to.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I wish I could do. Sometimes that's the reason why I buy $1 or $2 on the lotto. I'm like, if I win it, it's going all down to the people that are down in need. I wouldn't want to keep a dime, man. My thing is just seeing people happy makes me happy, you know.
Luis was asking us, and I was kind of wondering too, how to find the YouTube videos. Like, Sam, did you post it on Facebook or?
Some of those are on the Kids 2017, like the last big Christmas event that we did for them.
Okay.
The YouTube one, I believe it's under Lyons on YouTube, and it's like a Spanish song. It's called El Inmigrante, and all the what you call it, the pictures that are there are from, part of them are mine, but part of them are also from the guy from El Salvador that was on the Bestia that gave me those pictures and also gave me permission to post them up. But they're raw, uncut, actual pictures of the migration across. Also, when they make stops and how the kids play in these little parks, and there's like hundreds of kids. I mean, it's not just like a couple, like they trickle down. No, there's like hundreds of kids, and when it's time to go, they get all their stuff, throw everything back up, and boom, they're on their way out.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting, like because when they're in TJ, they've already gone through so much. They've already crossed so much, so many miles, you know.
Ileo, is that the name? ELO?
Okay, that's Haley. Yeah.
Or Haley? Okay.
Haley or Elo.
Sorry, discúlpame. If you want to donate some donations as far as like food and stuff, we don't mind, taking a trip down there to you. Again, I don't know your situation, if you can or can't go, but if you can, you're more than welcome to come. You'll meet Noemi and Lana, and there's girls that are there as well helping out. There's Villamar. Villamar's been a dedicated Kids 2017 member since I initiated. Sometimes they have something called sandwichadas, where they bring all the supplies that they could think of for sandwiches, and they're just making them, and people are like grabbing a couple and going out to the street, handing some out to people in the street, people in shelters, they go all over the place. I think, what was it, last year they did like about 5,000 sandwiches. The year before that they did like 6,000 sandwiches, and this is just in one day. It's spread out to that many people. They do that periodically. If you could do that, that would be great. But you're right though, reliable ones. There's a lot of them that are like.
That's why
I don't like to badmouth people, but they just make a profit off of it. That's messed up.
a lot of it is like do it yourself. Like I've literally like had bags and bags of stuff in my house just because it's like, okay, this is really needed and no one else is bringing it, so like let's like get it from our friends and have it prepared. And I would say like I've worked with Bridge of Love across the border, and they have like 2 or 3 storage units full of stuff at any time.
Yeah. There's a lot of wonderful organizations out there. There's a lot of wonderful people that are like, they're not mentioned. You know, if I were you, the closest thing to you could get to El Activismo if you want to do it, you have the beautiful Chicano Park right there, you know. Every now and then they have events. I'm sure if you network there, I'm pretty sure you'll meet some incredible people, you know, and they're all for la causa, you know, for the cause. There's also, the Border Angels and the Bridge of Love. Those are organizations that have been around, you know. Border Angels has been around since like the 80s, I believe. And then also Bridge of Love. I don't know when that one was initiated, but I do see it around every now and then. Again, if it's for help, go for it.
I think, Haley, the problem is like having drivers, you know, like these groups, they organize the caravanas, but it's like they have enough donations, or like it's kind of easier to get the donations, but harder to like take them over. Not that it's hard to take them over, but people are just not willing to take the time out of it.
Like, that's why I wanted to, like, get involved with these organizations, because, yeah, like, a lot of people in my family, like, we have Sentry and we have a lot of family across the border. So it's really easy for us to go back and forth.
If you have Sentry, that's like a golden ticket.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks. Even to get the process of interview for Sentry is like about a year, I hear.
Yeah,
I
don't think
submit a form.
My parents went through an interview, but like, okay, so like my mom has it, and like my grandpa has it, and like my uncles and some of my aunts have it. And what's it called? I don't know if they actually did like an interview. Maybe they did, but yeah, like I think they just like submitted like all their information like on like to their site and stuff. And yeah, it took a while, but
for me, I guarantee you when I tell you they're gonna want to interview me. You know, I'm not a saint. I was a trouble kid, you know, growing up. Thankfully, that part of my life is the past. It's a graveyard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's probably easier too, because like what's it called? I don't know. Like we come across like so often, so like they have like record of us, I guess.
Yeah, we come across a lot. I guess because they know I'm a hardcore activist as well. No lie, for the first year, and this is the honest God truth, I was always thrown into secondary. My car was always trashed. But that wasn't a discouragement. That I always thought that was like negative energy trying to stop the positivity within me, that fire that everyone has. That were trying to shut off that light, and I wasn't taking it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not. It's okay.
No, I feel we've spent like hours in secondary. Yeah. It's insane.
One time I was, how long was I there for? One time they had me there for like 7 hours. No, 7 hours is over exaggerating. I think they had me there for like 5 hours.
I've been in line for like 9 hours too. Like it's not over exaggerating. Like
no, I was. That's the line. But I'm talking about like in secondary. I waited 3 hours, and then on top of that, I was there. And one time I had to use the restroom, and the guy there that was, you know, the border patrol, he was being a jerk. You know, he was like, you can't go to the restroom. I'm like, what do you mean I can't go to the restroom? Like, my stuff's in the car. I don't have nothing on me. Like, then he was just like, I was like, look, bro, I got to go to the restroom. This is inhumane. Like, I'm going to turn around right here, right now. And I'm like, I'm ready to go. He's like, go. You need to go. And I'm ready to, you know, they're just trying to give me a hard time, man. It's messed up. They were sitting there laughing at me. There was a question that says, can you speed up the process? I'm pretty sure if you train those people that are just sitting around, there's a lot of, I'm pretty sure you experienced it firsthand. The border patrols that are walking sometimes before you get to the actual caseta. Yeah. They're just chilling, laughing, joking. Like, dude, you have like 10, 15 people, like taxpayer money. Like, I'm pretty sure if you run some paperwork, you could probably get an asylum seeker going. I mean, there's 10 of you.
After that, like one time that we waited for like 9 hours, like what they ended up doing, like my mom like applied for like Sentry like immediately, and yeah, I think it might have taken her like maybe like a year or something. But what's it called? Like after that, like they would normally just let me like walk across the border like on my own, and then they'd go through Sentry, and it would take like 45 minutes max.
Yeah. I highly recommend anyone that's going to get involved to get a Sentry. If not, try to find the dates and times that are like a little bit better to cross.
But yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to get involved in these, because like what's it called? I know that they do need like drivers and stuff, and like they need like drivers with like big like cars and stuff, and I have a Jeep, so I can like carry like lots of stuff.
Man, there you go. Hey Sam, there you go. We have a Jeep ready to go.
There you go.
We'll fill it up. We'll fill it up with all kinds of goodies. I mean, like I said, I have 41 pairs of shoes right now, ready to go, brand new in a box.
How are you guys doing it with Corona right now, though? Like, what are you doing to like protect like the like yourselves and like them?
I have something called penicillin, and I have something called amoxicillin. If I feel anything, I'm just like, boom, I'm there. TJ is the first hand. TJ's the first hand to sell that over the counter. You know, that's why a lot of people go over there. But I'm a chubby dude, you know, and they always give me with the tacos. You know, I'm there. The tacos are like to die for out there, man. Especially when they're handmade and all that. Oh my God, like. Look at you see these cheeks? These are war marks, like seriously, from all the food that I throw it down when I'm out there. It's lovely. You know what? That's another side of it, you know, like the culture. There's this particular taco stand that I hardly go to, but I should go more often. The owner knows what I do. And every time I'm there, he doesn't charge me.
No.
He doesn't charge me at all. He told me, muchacho, te miro aquí seguido, you know, at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, me gusta ayudar a la gente deportada. I like to help out the deported people too, you know, and the family and all that stuff. And bring them hope. And he's like, en verdad? Yeah. And he thought I was probably playing. So I'm like, look, man. I start going through all the photos. Like, there you go. Which one do you want to see? Like, I got tons of them. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, so I was about to leave. He's like, no me pagues. Tú ayudas a la gente y la gente te tiene que ayudar a ti también. Like, so the people help you, you help the people, and the people gotta help you too.
Just like take them with you guys. Like, whenever you guys go anywhere, you guys got like the free food.
Yeah. You know, and that's one thing that I'm very grateful for. But again, I know it's a business and I'm mindful and I don't abuse of it. I don't abuse of it at all. I mean,
something my dad's done before, like when he's like gotten like free food, like, because I mean, my dad, like they have money and stuff. So like what they'll do is like, there was this one restaurant that he used to like to go to like a lot when I was like younger. And like, he wouldn't charge them for like tons of stuff, but then he'd give him like a $200 tip. Like it'd be like that. Like he wouldn't charge him for like half the meal, but then he'd be like, I mean, I like this guy. I want to help him out.
Yeah, definitely.
And it'd be like that, like, oh, you're not going to charge me? Well, okay. Here's a donation then.
Nice.
Yeah, we need more direct action like that. I love how people are passing forward their stimulus checks too, you know, to students.
Yeah.
Well, I copied one of the YouTube links for Lewis.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think him and I are not good at searching on YouTube. I'm lumping you into that one. Okay. Well, I think,
We're good here, right?
Yes, I have to drop off to my next class, but thank you so much for taking the time, and I'll call you up. And
yeah, you guys are more than welcome to message me anytime. Feel free. I'm always open to questions. Sam as well. So thank you guys for having us. And again, let's get together after this quarantine. Let's throw carne asada and figure out, go back to the drawing board to see how we could help each other out.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy your day.
Thank you.
You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you all.